The late 1960s. America was a nation defined by its opposites. A whirlwind of vibrant color, cultural revolution, and the promise of a brighter future. Yet underneath that blinding light, there was an unspoken anxiety. A tension that ran deep through the veins of every city, every quiet suburban street. In Northern California's idyllic Bay Area, this anxiety was about to manifest into something tangible, something utterly cold. A darkness was gathering. A methodical shadow was about to fall, not with the chaos of the streets, but with the chilling, detached precision of a predator. This is Mind the Story, and today we dive deep into the ultimate paradox of true crime, the mind of the Zodiac Killer.
The first crack in the illusion of safety came on December 20th, 1968. The location? Lake Herman Road, a desolate lover's lane on the outskirts of Vallejo. For high school students David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, it was just a simple first date. They parked, likely talking about their futures, unaware they had already entered someone else's carefully constructed narrative. Another car pulled up, a man emerged, and in that moment, the narrative changed. No argument, no robbery, just a sudden, brutal finality. Their young lives were extinguished by the cold precision of a bullet. There were no witnesses, no motive, just silence. This was a crime stripped down to its bare, terrifying core. It was violence for the sake of violence. For 6 months, the case went cold. The community was shaken, but life and the investigation stagnated.
Then, the escalation. The predator returned to his hunting ground. The date? The 4th of July, 1969. The location? Blue Rock Springs Park, another secluded spot, this time with Darlene Farron and Michael Maggio. Again, a car approached. Headlights blinded them. And then, the inescapable barrage of gunfire. Darlene was killed instantly. Michael, miraculously, survived, forever bearing the burden of seeing the killer's face. But pay attention to the shift here. The killer wasn't content with just the violence. The murder was just the setup for the next act. Less than an hour later, a chilling, deliberate phone call was made to the Vallejo Police Department.
A man's voice, calm, monotone, and utterly devoid of remorse, spoke from the payphone. I wish to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway to a public park, you will find the kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. The psychological shift was profound. The killer was now confirming his work, taking ownership of the previous crime, establishing a pattern. This move transcends mere murder. It enters the realm of narcissistic performance. The act of murder itself was secondary to the recognition of that act. He was demanding validation. This was the moment the phantom began to take
The climax of this first act came quickly. On August 1st, 1969, just 2 days after the phone call, the killer finally spoke to his true audience,
The media. Letters arrived at the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the Vallejo Times-Herald. Each contained details only the killer could know, proving his identity, but they also contained a demand and a threat. He demanded the letters be published on the front page, or he would kill again that weekend. The media complied, and in doing so, they gave him the power he truly sought.
Attached to the letters was a 3-part cipher, 408 symbols in total. His symbol, a circle with a cross through it, the message was clear: solve me or more will die. The Zodiac was creating an entirely new genre of criminal. The core psychological driver here is intellectual superiority. He truly believed he was smarter than everyone. The cipher was his ultimate taunt to law enforcement, his way of establishing his dominance in the eyes of the public. A week later, a schoolteacher, Donald Hardin, and his wife cracked the code.
The decoded message was rambling, filled with spelling errors and deeply disturbing. It spoke of collecting slaves for the afterlife. The message ended with the chilling words, "I will not give you my name." But he would give a name. In his next communication, he began with 2 words that would be seared into American consciousness forever.
This is the Zodiac speaking. A single sentence. That was all it took for the game to be set. The shadow had a name. The performer had taken the stage. The stage was set for 2 more years of terror, ciphers, and a psychological cat-and-mouse game that would forever define the Golden State. Join us in part 2, The Ciphers Game, where we dissect the narcissism behind the mask.